Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about getting promoted in an IT company. So let's get into it. So the question in question was posted on a video I made called "What is the darkest secret of software development?" And basically it was in response to this claim that I made that the issue with IT in essence is that you have experts who are in many cases irresponsible with their role and like delay things and cause a lot of problems, being managed by people who are ignorant, who have no idea how to write software or like how anything of this work, and like that combination can basically only produce legacy systems. So the question here was, are there not enough talented programmers that are being promoted to higher management positions where they are enabled to make good decisions that prioritize high quality code, refactoring, and the foresight to avoid legacy deterioration? Presumably, if you had knowledgeable and conscientious programmers in upper management and or as stakeholder, this risk would be reduced, if not eliminated. I wrote back, and I think I said it best in my text, that is a big just do this type of thing that you just asked for. Because what you're basically saying is that you have to find a company structure where people who are usually engineers will have an equal level understanding of the necessity of what they're doing and everybody else. Because that's the problem with software engineers. If you tell a software engineer, if you ask that person, and this is the average software developer, how do we fix our company? The only thing they will answer is usually, well, we just have to, fix all this legacy and do all this refactoring, and then everything needs to be rewritten in a functional style, and then everything's going to be perfect. And then the second question you should ask them is, how long is that going to take, and how much money is that going to cost you? And I have to this day, this is how I judge, basically, whether or not you are even remotely close to a senior level software developer's mindset. Because the average software developer will just kind of go, yeah, we could probably do this in like a few months, a few years, something like that, but it's going to make everything better, I promise. Yeah, all our problems going to be fixed if we just do this refactor. And see, that's the problem with an engineer. It's the same thing. There's this saying: if the only tool you have in your toolbox is a hammer, then every problem is a nail. And this is not just software engineers. The salespeople, they believe that they can solve all the world's problem with sales, like with marketing. And if you just have enough people talking at the same time, usually on their phone in the same room, you're gonna solve the problems. Guess what the legal department thinks is gonna solve all our problems, and so on and so on and so on. And see, this is the difference between, in my opinion, having someone who is intelligent and having somebody who is wise. And wisdom, my friend, is a damn scarce commodity in IT, I would say, in the world. And that's basically what you're asking for. You're not just asking us to solve this problem by promoting someone with some simple process, because unfortunately, my friend, this is the reason why we have laws that are very obvious to practically anybody with half a brain. But they're there because, unfortunately, even though you are super intelligent, it has to apply to people who are less intelligent or mature, or so forth and so forth and so forth. And that's why I argue that most of the things that you want to do, that you are probably very responsible with and you would be able to handle, we can't let you do it, because that's going to be unfair to the people who are not able to handle that responsibility. And so if you consider what you're basically saying here, in my opinion at the very least, what you're basically saying is that you would have to change the perspective of a company from this to basically mean this. You would have to sell the idea that a company should hire and promote primarily software engineers to do the management part of the IT company. Now, in certain companies, that's what they do, because that's they need to do it. But you're in essence saying that the traditional manager is in many cases pointless in the engineering department, and that a engineer with basic administrative skills and social, like soft skills, like that's a person that will be able to do the job. Now, imagine what a terrible threat that is to the ego of some people, or how the corporate power structure looks. It's not going to be an easy sell. And in the most progressive companies, this is how they do it. And see, the thing is, you and me and everybody else who works in the program, like the engineering department, knows for a fact that the level of involvement, or like the average manager, is practically pointless in the engineering department. The only thing that person has in terms of value to the daily work and like producing results is if they have the domain knowledge. And unfortunately, I'm very sorry to say, we're simply in a situation where the vast majority of companies, they believe that they need this like half-witted Scrum Master type of character, or PM, who knows literally nothing about the work that you do, take care of all these meetings and all this stuff. And I just come back to it every single time. This is a culture thing. It is an ignorance thing. There's no need for this. It's the dumbest thing in the world. The best thing for literally everybody, and unfortunately it's very hard sometimes to find a person like this, is to find a mid-level or a senior level software developer who is interested in taking on the PM's role. That person will blow the manager out of the water every single day of the week. Because you have this illusion that the manager is doing something magical. I promise you, the software developer is smarter than the motherfucking manager. A lot smarter, because the work that the manager does is nothing in terms of complexity in comparison to what the software developer is doing. The other part that you need to make sure that the software developer has is the soft skills, the social skills. It's not magic to be able to go to meetings and talk to people. Anybody can learn that skill. Literally anybody can do that. It's all about aptitude. That's what it comes down to. So it's not an intelligence problem, it's not an education problem. As I said, it's, in my opinion, it's more of a traditional type of thing. The problem here is that now, my friend, you need to find a developer who is willing to take on the reins of higher management. And, well, if you ever try to do that, if you ever try to find someone who's really, really good at both this technical stuff and the soft skills and all that good stuff, you're going to start to figure out that a lot of people who are really, really smart, they usually don't want to spend all their time dumbing every thought they ever had down to a level where people with other experiences, or like who are not as so technical, where they feel that they understand what's going on, they feel like they're being included, they're being respected, because that's what you have to remember. We're good at different things. If Einstein comes into my apartment for some reason and tries to talk to me, he's going to have to dumb down everything he says basically in his specific area, because I don't know any better. It's not because I don't want to understand, it's just I don't understand it. It's the same thing with our software developers. That's why soft skills are so desirable in the IT companies. Simply because if you're going to be a software developer and you're going to have like non-technical stakeholders from different departments rely on you, it's really important that you remember that these people are not stupid. It's just that you simply you are in an IT company, therefore your skills are usually the ones that are the center of it all. But if you switch roles and we go to a legal company, well then the law guy is going to be the guy who's going to have to talk down to you. And you have to be able to do that without disrespecting people. And that's every day. Every day, and everything is a sales pitch, because you're basically trying to get people to give money to things that they don't understand, and so forth and so forth. There's all this complexity and skill requirements on the software developer who's going to do this, and a lot of people who are fairly intelligent, they really don't want to do that, because it's in essence, I mean, if we're going to go that far, it's almost like if you've ever talked to someone who's been, who is like a support counselor for teens, or like a daycare center teacher or something like that. At some point, it's the same thing with stay-at-home parents. At some point, you get fed up with having to lower everything you do down to a child's level, and sometimes you just want to talk to another adult. That is one of the main blockers for what you're saying. So then you come to this other thing, which is also a very big challenge. So now you're one of these hybrid devs. Let's say that you are the sort of person who will be able to do this, and you're also willing to do the thing that you're asking. Well, how are you now going to maintain your technical skills and your administrative skills at the same time? Because this is the other thing that usually happens, and that is that you have someone who makes that switch, who goes from being an engineer and becomes a manager. And then, because management takes time, it takes a lot of time. You won't be able to you usually don't have time to code. So how long is it going to take before your skills, your tech skills, become practically irrelevant? It is the most common thing I see in people with 20 plus years of software development experience, or quote-unquote software development experience. They haven't even realized that they are irrelevant now. Like, their tech skills are not even remotely relevant. Sure, they know a few words here and there, and they sort of know some stuff, but in their minds, it's kind of like someone who used to play football. You still think that you're good. It's just that you're not. You just think that you are good, and that in many cases can make you even more dangerous than someone who is ignorant of how IT works, because basically now you might form yourself a very strong opinion on how to do something in the technical aspect, where you should really not have that opinion. And that's a situation where someone who was from a different background, who wasn't a software developer, might back off and say, hey, you know what, let's just trust the seniors who do this every single day. But you don't, because you think that you're one of them. So I can say, based on experience, that there is that, like, getting a person as the one you're describing is it's a 1 in a million. If you find that individual, it is a genius level software developer that you're asking us to promote. And sure, you can do that, and if you're lucky, you'll find such a person, but it's not going to scale. You might find one such person per gigantic corporation, but the average software company will never be able to find such an individual. So what I want you to take away from this is that I know exactly one person that I've met in my career so far that qualifies for the sort of, let's fix IT type of role that you're talking about here. And that person, he just actually, if you've watched a few of my old videos, I've talked about the people who have influenced me the most in my career. He is actually one of those people. I have two people it's two. I would say three total senior software developers that I've worked with in my career, who has basically set the tone for every value system that I have at least professionally. And he used to be my mentor, and he is it's the only person I would say who has the ability to do this, because he fills all the criteria. He's naturally, and this is what you basically need to find. You need to find a senior level software developer with years and years and years of hands-on coding experience, who has the passion to sit and code in your spare time, basically, because that's the only time you're going to have time to do anything besides management, and then has the massive soft skills to be able to get everybody on board, to be able to talk to the developers, to be able to talk to the management, and to make meaningful change happen. And around all of that person needs to be humble enough and genuine enough and good-hearted enough to care about the company, to the point where they will focus primarily on making sure that the company and every person in that company is doing well. Now, if that's not a unicorn, I don't know what is. Have a great day.